You guys are two beautiful men, two beautiful beards.
I do like that it's white. You've embraced the white.
Look, I've embraced the white. I used to dye. Unfortunately, Fitz pointed that out. Thanks for pointing that out
you
for
look
me.
so distinguished. I saw.
That almost ended the podcast, actually. We had a rough
It
couple
almost
of
became
days there.
the Fitz or Whit podcast at that point.
Welcome to the first official off-season edition of the Fitz and Whit podcast. What are we doing? I don't know. We'll still talk football. We'll still talk fun. I'm Fitz, and that big, beautiful, bald man over there, the guy that some have already penciled in as the early MVP of the offseason thus far, is my partner in crime, Mr. Andrew Whitworth. I could see it on your face. You've got a little sunburn. You've been wearing your glasses, got the raccoon eyes. Looks like you're having a pretty good offseason so far.
I do feel like I'm dominating the offseason. Been down here at Chileno Bay, enjoying a little Cabo life, getting a tan, hanging out with the kids, playing some golf, enjoying some good food. It's been a pretty good start. The Super Bowl feels like it's years ago at this point because I feel like I've had a good week. Came straight from there, Fitz. Flight to Houston to Cabo. I've been in Cabo since.
Yeah, I battled a sickness for like 4 days after
You
New
told me you were
Orleans.
hurting.
Yeah, I was hurting a little bit, and I don't know if it was the late nights. I don't know if it was just New Orleans. Probably a combination of a lot of different things, a lot of handshakes and kissing babies, and I don't use hand sanitizer. So that one was probably on me.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, sometimes in big emotional moments, like a finger gun from Kevin Costner, people have this, it's the after effect. You just have this emotional reaction. And I think that's really what it is.
Did you watch SNL 50? Did you see
watched it. Unbelievable.
His move on the red carpet was the finger gun.
Your moment.
So now I'm wondering how many people is he finger gun?
Yeah, you're feeling
less
important.
Special but it still was cool. And it was cool because it was on the heels of my story and it made me still feel special. But anyway,
that's right.
We've been looking forward to this show for a week or so now because today's show features our exclusive interview with the one and only Jason Kelce.
When you say exclusive, like you're saying that Kelce only interviewed with us in New Orleans? I'm very confused. So he didn't sit down with anybody else?
No, Jason Kelce's an absolute whore. You're right. I just like the way that exclusive sounded.
Sounded like he made special time for us. I think he did. It
was cool because we did the game preview and you could kind of tell, I feel like, because we were both in strong on the Eagles for the game. You could kind of tell, I think, in his heart of hearts that he knew the Eagles were going to win that game. And he just didn't want to say it.
Yeah, you could see that there was some emotion there. He felt how good that team was. And then obviously it's like that's your brother on the other side that you don't want to see lose a game. You could see that in him. I mean, I texted him during the game just like, wow, what a performance. And you could still tell like it was it's just hard. I mean, I can imagine some place that you're that invested into your entire career is there, like everything you are as a Philadelphia Eagle. And on the other side of it, your blood, your brother, somebody you love and obviously are getting to have an amazing journey with at this point in their careers with football and off the football field and everything else. There's a lot of emotions tied to both sides. So I can imagine what a tough week that was for him.
Yeah. And when we were interviewing him, it was hard sometimes listening to him because of how conflicted he was.
Yeah.
And you could just tell he just kept going back and forth and like, he talked about it afterwards and it was tearful of like what he felt for his brother. And it was just a weird feeling because he's obviously brothers with guys like Lane. And we know how that is being teammates with guys and seeing them every single day. And he had a hard time experiencing that joy, at least for the night of the Super Bowl because of the pain that he felt for his brother. But my favorite part of the interview was kind of after we shut it down after that. And then we just kept the cameras rolling and we talked about life.
Yep.
And, this aspect of reintroducing yourself to your family after the season, us having 14, I think, children and counting because he's got another one on the way, talking about our wives, obviously his wife, Kylie, and how successful she has now been with her podcast. And she's in commercials and she did the late night show with him, even though I don't think she wanted to. They've got their fourth on the way, a fourth daughter, and how he names his daughters, I thought was really neat. And then, Jason even addressed, I guess, what we're calling the real Swift effect. And that's not about the economy. No, it's about the Kelce family.
That was the coolest part to me. That was awesome.
It was great. It was great,
that was
dude.
cool.
So
that was a good way to put it.
Yeah. And so all that's coming up here in a moment. And then before we get started on that, for those of you who didn't see it, you had a great little Valentine's card that you put out on Twitter.
Oh man, just heartfelt.
I got nervous because, and you'll have to tell me the genesis of the poem that you wrote, because I'm just going to give the people the first 3 lines of this and they can fill in whatever they want. Heads are bald. Beards are thick. I love you so much.
Yes, sir.
I'm reading this thing going, how is this going to end? What rhymes with thick?
Yeah, you're thinking
Valentine's
the podcast is
Day,
over.
Lover. Yeah, I'm like, this isn't good. Like, what?
Podcast is done.
Did he mean to post it on his OnlyFans? Like, what is going on here? But thank you for that. Yeah.
Hey, listen, some people do tell me when I wear my hoodies that I look like a bard from medieval times. So, I'm a lover, Fitz.
You're quite the poet, man.
I try to bring people together. That's it, man.
But it ended in you're my first round pick. It didn't end in the way I thought it was going to end, which is good because that's not going to win over any favors to anybody. But how was Valentine's Day? Did we have any romance? Did you guys do a dinner? Did you do flowers? How long have you guys been married? You've been married for...
That's a great question. 15 years, going on 16 next month. And Melissa calls it 15 long ass years. I think it's been wonderful, but we're not holiday celebrator people. So Valentine's Day for us, we started this a long time ago. We usually get pizza, watch a movie at the house, and don't leave. We don't dress up. We don't fight for tables. We don't do flowers. Listen, Fitz, I'm good at, making sure that we establish some things that we are. And so one of those things is I tell Melissa all the time, listen, I'll get you flowers because it's a Tuesday in May because you deserve them. Not because some holiday tells me that I need to get you some roses. I'll take you to a nice dinner because you deserve to go on dates and we want to go have fun and spend time together. We don't have to do that on a special night because somebody tells us we need to. So it's just not one of those holidays we celebrate. We're not Valentine's people. We love it for the kids. We do stuff for the kids. It's great for us. No, we're not going to dinner. We're not fighting crowds. We're not doing the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, so for me, my 2 boys, Brady and Tate Brady's almost 18 now. Tate's 16. They both have girlfriends. And so it made me realize a little bit, at least with Brady, how I've failed as a father and example of what we should do on Valentine's Day. But thank goodness Brady has a good mom and 4 sisters that made him do something nice. So he set up a nice picnic in our basement.
Oh, that's cute.
Very romantic.
Well done.
They watched a movie. Tate I think his girlfriend was out of town. So currently, hopefully his girlfriend doesn't listen to this podcast, but I can't imagine she does. The beauty of having younger sisters is his sisters are currently grinding over a card and very creative setup for Tate to then present to his girlfriend. And then for me, I do get flowers for Liza and for my 4 daughters, but that leaves Jake. Poor Jake, 6 years old.
Does he get left out? Nothing?
He's going to be, so what I did, I thought he was going to feel left out because I had flowers for all the girls and then a big bouquet for Liza. I filled up a red Solo cup full of those apple squeezies and I put Jake's name on it. So it was like a bouquet of applesauce and it won. It won the day. It fooled him.
I like that.
He thought he was way more special than the girls because they had flowers and they weren't able to eat what I gave them. So it worked. But me too, in terms of the romantic go out to eat. We don't really do that. And most of the time it's because we're really busy. But I wanted to make a point to my kids that it's also Arizona's birthday on Valentine's Day, which is really important. Then, as you know, the St. Patrick's Athletic Football Club had their opener, 0-0 tie, but that was a big one to watch as well.
That was big. It was big for us.
Dude, it was huge for us. I wanted to revisit, we talked about the weight gain in New Orleans, and I just think it ended up being meh. Because what did you end up gaining?
I agree.
You were.
I was like, I mean, we're thinking 4 or 5 pounds. I don't know how realistic it is.
And I was like
kind of wait in
3.
the afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those things where I thought we were going to have more of a, 10 to 12. I think we both predicted somewhere in the double digits, and we behaved. We did a lot of walking.
I thought we were pretty disciplined. Yeah,
and I think it was the sweat too. I think it was. I'm picturing you on that float, just dripping sweat.
Big fella did some serious sweating. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that. I have 2 shirts I just left in the Four Seasons in New Orleans because they were soaking wet. I was like, well, just T-shirts somebody giving me to wear, and it wasn't worth trying to figure out how in the world I'm going to wash them or put them in my suitcase. So, just left them there.
Give me the quick update on your golf game, because I know when you go to Cabo, you do quite a bit of golfing. So what kind of place are we in right now? And obviously for both of us, we don't care what kind of shape our golf game is in until we get to July, because that's when the American Century is. But what kind of shape is the game in right now?
I was a little worried. I got on the range the first day. It was rough. And then, as the week went on, we're starting to find it. You're starting to find those shots and put them together. There's some things I feel good about. Iron play's still there. Taking a long way off from the game, but
always solid.
I'm a good iron player. So still got that, short game. Off the tee, still got work to do. But listen, this thing's a constant build. I'm building for Tahoe, American Century Championship, baby. That's all it is, right? And so that's the only thing I care about is not looking like an idiot when I get on that tee box in front of all those people.
Do you golf with no shoes when you're in Mexico or no?
Fitz, you would love it. No shirt, just a bathing suit. And sometimes shoes, kind of depends on how serious of a range session I'm having. A lot of times just barefoot, chipping and putting, No golf etiquette here.
So what is your tan? Wear. Your tan is good right now. Like your full body tan is. Man.
I'm full like 65-year-old single guy who just lays out beside a pool all day and looks like a brown leather belt. I mean that's what
you're
I look
like Hulk Hogan.
Now.
Hulk Hogan right now.
I'm the Hulkster.
All right. So during our playing days, there would always be an off-season agenda that involved getting better somehow, addressing what we did right during the season, what we did wrong, and how we could improve on it. My off-season usually started earlier than yours, yes, but
that would be true.
My off-season also almost always involved having to throw away, like, how are we going to do this going away party, because I was moving every year, and inevitably we would meet great friends. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to a different team. Let's throw a big party. And I don't have that anymore. Now that we're in the same place, that part of it's been cut out of our lives. But I have, for the off season now, going 3 years in a row, I've rented a dumpster, and we put it in the driveway, and we just get rid of shit because we have too much. Yes. So it's
I need to steal this idea.
Dude, it's so satisfying, because for us, every time we moved, we always did 3 things. We got a pod, we got moving trucks, and we got a dumpster. And the pod, we would put stuff that we would want to send back to Arizona, which is where I am now. And we've had a place here for a while. The moving truck is stuff we would move with us from place to place. And then the dumpster was, okay, it was great for a year, that IKEA furniture or whatever it was, throw it in the dumpster. Nothing more satisfying. So I've kept up that tradition of the dumpster, and I'm telling you, just try it out. Just try it out, because
this is a hoarder, so it'd be war for me to win that one.
Yeah, that's the other thing. But then it's like once it goes in the dumpster, it's gone. We can't fight about it. Like, we made our decisions. We got to make some tough cuts, just like Doge right now with the government. We're making tough cuts. Throw it in the dumpster, never see it again, never think about it again. And it helps declutter the house, because, oh my God, when you get through birthday season with all the presents and everything else, like, some stuff's got to go.
We got stuff that's got to go.
All right. So now let's create an off-season plan. Me and you, off-season plan. So I just want to set 3 goals. They could be goals that we can think about together, or just things that we want to accomplish. But I feel like we're pretty in line. I think you do a better job. I know you do a better job of sticking to a workout plan and all those things. But talk to me about 3 things that you want to do, and I'll hopefully just piggyback on those for our off-season goals of what we want to do when the football season ends, which is right now. What are we doing?
Well, I think first thing I'll get back to is my routine in the off season, which I'm very excited that you've tried the rucking and you've gotten excited about it. But I usually go back to getting on a consistent pattern, a couple rucks a week, maybe 3 if it's a week where I don't have a lot going on, but at least 2 rucks a week. I get my audiobooks going. I'm kind of a random curiosity guy, so my audiobooks are really all over the place. They could be from like personal self-help things to books on just in general leadership, or maybe CEOs I've heard about that have been really successful that I just love to kind of hear what their take is on things. And then I like things that might challenge me from a perspective of something I wouldn't understand, like put me in an empathy situation to put myself in somebody else's shoes, what they're going through. I kind of like all different kind of mixtures of things. So I try to get through those books. I even love like Generation Z, kind of books that study the different generations and what they kind of, why they work a certain way they are and why you tick the certain way you do. And I love things like that. Just kind of challenge my mindset on things and maybe make me come to some conclusion of where I'm at on certain things. So I'll kind of audiobook and ruck. That's one of the main things. So definitely 2 or 3 rucks a week.
So how do you, just curious, are you a guy that's writing these things down? So like you rucked, okay, check off, 3 miles, 5 miles, whatever it is. Is there a specific goal every week that you have in mind? Or is it just getting out there? Like I rucked for the day, doesn't matter how many miles, check, I'm done.
I am going to usually pick whether it's 5, 6, 7 miles, somewhere in that range. I'll probably start off in the 5 to 6 range and I'm going to time it. And so I kind of go for how much time did it take me to do that? And then I'll kind of make my way up to either 7 or 8 miles. This year, I've thought about really my ultimate goal, since I have been rucking a lot and I've got some experience with it, is, kind of the conditioning test is the 12-mile ruck. And seeing how much time you can get that
while
in.
Holding a rifle, right? Or no?
That's the military's, but for just a civilian like myself, I'm going to go with the 12-mile ruck.
Let's do it with the driver.
I can do it with a golf club. I don't know how. Westlake Village already thinks I'm a weirdo for walking around town all the time. So listen, people in that community are like, "Why is this big dude always walking everywhere?" But with a backpack. So I'm going to do my 12-mile ruck. I think every Saturday morning is my goal, is to try to hit the 12-mile ruck and just see what I can do. So during the week, it may be a shorter one, just kind of get used to it. And then I want to try to hit, if it's one Saturday a month, maybe 2, a 12-mile ruck to kind of give myself a barrier of how long does that take and what kind of conditioning shape I am for rucking.
So accountability partners with that. We'll do that. We'll keep tabs on each other. Do you ever ruck? Do you ever like go for a hike and ruck, or is it always flat?
No, a lot of times it's hikes. So I mix it up. For the 12-mile ruck, I'll do mostly flat just to kind of get a consistent time.
Okay, because my brother just asked me, not Sean, my other brother Brandon, wants to start rucking on Fridays, South Mountain, and I've only been flat so far.
That adds a whole new element.
That'll be a nice new challenge.
So rucking's going to be one of yours. We'll definitely do that one. What else you
rucking? And not even just the audiobooks, just books in general for me. And I want to set a goal of like, okay, I want it to be realistic. I don't want to be like, I'm reading a book a day. I want to go a book every 2 weeks and just be realistic about it, but make sure that that's still something that's like at the forefront of what I'm doing. And, you got me into audiobooks a little bit. When you are doing the rucking or walking for hours at a time, like it kind of flies by. And
it does.
You know what? I've become a 1.7 guy. Is that too fast? That's
pretty fast. I'm 1.5 right now, but
you're 1.5
there's some
guy?
Books that are a little boring that I gotta speed it up. Like some of them, it's a little, depending on who's reading it. A lot of times if it's somebody, it's like them reading it, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. I want to hear like Al Michaels talk on his book, or, Kirk Herbstreit or whoever, right? Like somebody, it may be different, but anything else, we got to speed it up.
Yeah, got to speed it up. Well, and then I think the third thing for both of us has to be something golf related. And I would say let's pin it on the American Century, because again, that's always where we're trying to peak in our games. Last year was my best finish ever. I was in the positive numbers all 3 rounds, which was huge for me. I think last year was your best finish ever. Is that right?
Yep.
Were you top 30? What were you?
Yeah, I've been top 25 twice, and I just missed being top 20. And the goal, I feel like for me, from now on, when I attend American Century, if I am honored to be invited, it's top 20 or go home. Like you got to start getting in the top 20. So
and
that's
it's
my
serious,
new goal.
though. Top 20 serious. I mean, that means you're a good player. I mean, not a good player. It means you're a great player, because
you got to average mid 70s or better. probably to be top 20. So you're 75 or less every round, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and they do an adjusted Stableford. So I already achieved the goal of positive in each round. I think for me, 82 or under in all 3 rounds would be it for me. That'd be huge. 81's the best I've ever shot there. So if I could achieve that, just a level of consistency in the golf game, I would be really happy.
How are we getting there, though? That's my question. How are we getting there? I mean, you're just talking rounds of golf. Do we train? Do we practice? Do we work with somebody?
So here's the problem is timing wise, my brother Sean next door right here is building a garage and putting in a simulator. This thing should be up and ready to go with maybe
this is
like
gonna be a game
2
changer.
months. Yeah, I know, but it's going to be ready to go with like 2 months before American Century, I think. And so if that, how construction projects go though, like basically take what they tell you, multiply it by 2 and then add 2 months. So I'm hoping it gets done with 2 months before the tournament. And in that way, that'll be a game changer for me. If not, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take. My biggest issue with golf is I don't have any fundamentals to fall back on. So when I start struggling, I'm like, all right, well, maybe, you know what? I'm going to stand closer to the ball here.
The simulator is going to help you with that.
Okay, good. That's what I need. And man, I am going to come out on fire. I had the opposite approach. I played a ton before I went to Tahoe, but I've got a place in Flagstaff and it's at elevation. It's at 7,000 feet.
Oh.
And so it helped me dial in the irons a little bit.
I was going to say that had to be helpful.
Yeah, it was very helpful. But all right, well, we want to hear all you listeners and your off-season programs. It was very weird to not have the NFL this last Sunday. So you're either still out celebrating as an Eagles fan or you're a fan of the other 31 NFL teams, licking your wounds and gearing up for another run. Hit us up on Instagram or Twitter to let us know what you're doing for your off-season program. I'm also looking forward to March Madness, baby. I think it's the best 2 weeks of the year, that those initial rounds and stages. My whole family is into it. We do the brackets, so I cannot wait for that. Full disclosure here. I don't bounce back from a night of drinking like I used to. I'm getting old, man.
Tell me about it. I witnessed it firsthand in New Orleans. I'll say, Fitz, I need to see a little better rebound performance from you.
Pre-alcohol.
Pre-alcohol. Are you talking about pre-gaming with fried food? What are we talking here?
No, I mean pre-alcohol. So Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. And here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, but this byproduct in the gut that's to blame for your rough next day. So pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. The Super Bowl was actually the perfect place to test it because we didn't exactly hold back the fun. And it's one of those things that's got to be part of the routine now because it makes you feel better the next day.
This March Madness, don't let anything sideline your celebrations. Grab pre-alcohol before you go out and be ready to cheer on your team all day and night long. Go to zbiotics.com/fitsandwit to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use the promo code FITZANDWIT at checkout.
Use that promo code FITZANDWIT.
ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked.
Remember, head to zbiotics.com/FITZANDWIT and use that promo code FITZANDWIT at checkout. It'll get you 15% off.
We have an opportunity to take advantage of it this March Madness. Don't let anything sideline your celebrations. Grab pre-alcohol before you go out and be ready to cheer on your team all day and night long. Who's scoring big in the NBA this season? You are. With all the new ways to get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA.
That's right, Whit. The NFL season shut it down, but the NBA season is just heating up. From monster slams to dishing the rock to cleaning the glass. Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. I know you're all over this one, big dog.
You got that right. As you know, the All-Star Game was just this past weekend, so regular season games don't start up again until tomorrow. But here's what I got my eye on, Fitz. Luka Doncic got a little warm up before the All-Star break, and now he's back and ready to ride. I got him to score more than 20 points against the Hornets Wednesday night.
Okay, and I like a Devin Booker play, and I'm going to tell you why. Think about this. He gets snubbed at the All-Star Game. The Suns have to get it going to make the playoffs. He's going to be really motivated to go off against the Spurs. Keep in mind that all lines are subject to change. And here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. So take it to the rack with DraftKings Sportsbook. Every point counts. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Fitz and Whit. That's code Fitz and Whit for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Hey, whiskey fans, Crown Royal Whiskey is here with a gentle reminder that in life, it's not about what you got, it's what you give. When you pour a glass of Crown Royal, generosity is sure to follow, bringing you and yours together in a celebration of what royalty tastes like. Discover that smooth really is a flavor, and it comes in an iconic purple bag because deluxe is in the details, and these details have been distilled and crafted to perfection since 1939. So raise a glass of the good stuff, raise a glass to the generous spirit of Crown Royal Whiskey, and please drink responsibly.
All right, let's get to the business at hand. Our exclusive interview with the one and only Jason Kelce. And Whit, before we hit play on that, we talk about Jason Kelce as many things. He's an Eagles legend. He's one of the best centers to ever play the game. He's one of the great characters to ever represent the league. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's brought great visibility to all offensive linemen, and he's also a dear friend of ours. So do us a favor here. Just tell us why this dude was and is so special.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's obviously a lot of reasons from the player standpoint that he's really special. I mean, I can remember meeting Jason in Cincinnati, Ohio. He was still at the University of Cincinnati. And this actually was the lockout year. We were locked out of our facilities. And so as Bengals guys that were there living in town for the offseason, we're like, man, we need somewhere to train. University of Cincinnati let us train there. That was Jason's year coming out to the draft. And so we got to train and work out, and I got to kind of do some stuff with him. And we always laugh about those times together. And, you know, obviously he's looking at me like, dude, some of these techniques you're showing, do you realize that you're 6'8", 350 pounds, and I am not 6'8", 350 pounds? So we had a great interaction there. But so it always made me like a fan is, you know, anytime you meet a young guy like that going into the draft, it sticks out to you. And you knew what a dynamic guy he was just from that moment, just the passion and just, this dude was ate up to be really freaking good. And he wanted to sit there and just chew down anything he could from anything you said. And so you think about the center position, Fitz, and really what he was able to accomplish. I mean, how great the offensive lines were when he was there in Philly. I always say, like, a center, right? Like, you're trying to have some balance as a center. Left tackles can be just physical freaks a lot of the time, and maybe like the mental capacity, that kind of stuff of being a leader. You don't really have to have that. But centers, man, there's like this constant balance of what are your physical abilities and then what's your mental and really emotional strengths. Because I look at the centers, man, you're handling the calls. You're handling the direction of what we're doing. So I am sitting there as a left tackle. I don't get to block anybody until I understand where you're directing us to go, what the intention of this play is in the sense of where you think that they're coming from so that we need to be prepared to handle, you know, whether it's pass, run, and everything. You are the person dictating the terms to us, and then we go execute the plan. So there's a mental capacity to it. And then there's, do you have the physical traits? And what I thought was so impressive is you see this guy at the end of his career. Obviously, he's been one of the more physically dominant centers to play the game. Still, his ability to get on the edge as a puller. Still, his ability at the line of scrimmage to mash people in the run game. Like, you don't see a lot of guys that are not the largest centers in the league who can pull and get outside, right? In the outside the tackle game, in the run game. And then also in the interior, dominate guys. And Jason was one of those rare breeds that could do all the above. He could have played in any style of offense and been successful. And I think that's what really separated him as like just a true player. The physical abilities and then the mental, emotional leadership standpoint, the mental ability of directing that offense. You saw all those videos. You get to see him and Jalen, having arguments there at the end, like where you could tell he takes control of everything they do. that I love that about him. And so I think as just talking about the player, the human being is A+++.
Yeah.
Unbelievable dude, a good friend of ours. Obviously, very honored he sat down with us and gave us his time. But from a player standpoint, man, had to be one of the best centers of all time, and a guy really that checked off every box for playing that position.
Yeah. Well, with that, that's a perfect setup. Let's get to it. May I present special guest Jason Kelce.
This is why we're here. We're joined by a very special guest. Whit, will you do the honors
I
here?
will do the honors. 7-time Pro Bowler, 6-time first-team All-Pro. He's a Super Bowl champion who played his entire 13-year career with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Go Birds.
He's an Iron Man who holds the Eagles record for consecutive games played. Hold on, Fitz, I got more. He's a father to 3 with a 4th on the way.
Yep.
All girls?
All girls.
Oh, man. He's a mummer and a hype man, the husband to a famous woman, the brother to a famous man, but he's an underdog no more. In fact, this man's getting so popular, he may be the most dangerous man in show business.
Oh, wow.
Please welcome one of the greatest centers in NFL history, a future Hall of Famer without a question. I don't care how they vote, Mr. Jason Kelce.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah.
That's an intro right there.
Come on,
like the
baby. I got to
fancy
give it
set
to
here?
you. You think I'm not going to give a
This
good
is
intro to an
very nice.
O-lineman? Come on.
Well, Whit talks about all the time how excited he is that the O-linemen are having a moment.
We're having
right
a
now.
moment. It's
They
our
are.
time.
You guys you're popular, you're in the limelight, and it's well deserved.
That's not what you said the first time.
I know.
He's only saying this because I'm here.
Yes.
I think journeyman quarterbacks should be having their moment at some point.
Well, I think one of the best things about the podcast world and like the social media stuff is like linemen for years have always had some of the best personalities in the NFL landscape, and anybody who's been in a locker room knows that. And now there's so many avenues for those guys to showcase their personalities. Like I just saw Jared Allen out in the hallway there. Congratulations on the Hall of Fame. But he was one of the few guys that like he really did that before kind of all this stuff took off. Like he just nailed that. And now there's opportunities for all these guys that are either like really smart, really funny, charismatic, whatever it is. There's ways to get yourself out there that there never was before.
Yeah.
I think that's why we're seeing a lot more linemen in the media landscape.
Great. Well, and you guys are two beautiful men, two beautiful beards.
I can't compete with that.
Svelte.
I do like that it's white. You've embraced the white.
Look, I've embraced the white. I used to dye. Unfortunately, Fitz pointed that out. Thanks for pointing that out
You
for
look
me.
so distinguished. I saw.
I would appreciate you just calling or texting me personally
Yeah, that
next
almost
time
ended
you want to
the
have that
podcast,
conversation.
Actually, we had a rough
It
couple
almost
of
became
days there.
the Fitz or Whit podcast at that point.
You know what? The shitty part about that, though, is that you know where I got that photo from?
Where?
He posted it on Twitter. So, like, I pulled it from his Twitter feed.
Right?
It's just, unfortunately, what happened is there was a popular person that retweeted it, and then it took off.
There you go.
But you're much more beautiful with a gray beard.
I'm embracing who I am.
Yes.
I want to first, because we've heard so much about the career, and obviously I want to dive into the late night show in a little bit.
Okay.
Because I think that was super cool, super ambitious, putting yourself out there. And
it's hard.
Yeah, it was awesome. But I want to get to this first, the kids. So I've got 7, he's got 4. You've got your 4th girl on the way.
Yeah.
Just not as a player, but now with as busy as you are, balancing. Like, how do you find the balance with the girls?
Still finding it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think we took on a lot this year. I think it's a family, and just me in particular. I wanted to take all these opportunities that were available to figure out what I want to do next. And I think I'm looking forward to, honestly, the NFL season ending here so I can decompress and really reevaluate what we want to spend our time in.
How old is your oldest?
Our oldest is 5 right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Dude, when the newborn comes,
time is now.
when the newborn's born, it'll be 5, 4, 2, and an infant. Yeah. Kylie's been popping them out.
Yeah, well, you've been working too, my man.
Yeah, I'm about to say, give yourself some credit. You did something there.
You know what? I do deserve credit.
You deserve credit. Beat your
10
chest, man.
I have 7, and once one turns the next age, I don't do the, like, because you were 5, 4, 2. Mine are, once my 17-year-old turns 18, they all turn the next year. I'm not doing the 18, 6, 16.
Well, you got
13.
7.
Yeah, it's too hard.
Yeah, the first time we got on here, and I was like, Fitz, say your kids' ages. And he was like, oh, yeah, it's easy. It's 17, 15, 13, 11, 9, 5, 3. I was like, whoa, what?
Yes, but now it's not easy because a couple of them have
A
turned.
couple of them are even
so
now,
I just
right?
lie about
Yeah,
it.
so we're not
It's like
doing
the
that.
best password ever. Just put all the ages in.
Yeah. What about names? I mean, because we got to the point with the girls where So my wife's name is Liza. She loves a Z in the name.
Kylie loves 2 T's.
2 T's.
2 T's. So we have Wyatt, Elliot, and Bennett.
Okay. So but now like you're stuck because if you don't do the 2 T's,
It's going to be odd.
Yeah, it's trouble.
Kind of run out of 2 T's names.
So we ran into that because we were ending it in a Y, not really purposely at first, but it was Lucy, Maisie, Zoe.
That's what I was just about to ask you. You said the Z, and I'm looking at your shirt.
So it ended up being the Y thing too, and then it was like, well, we got to find a Y name for this next girl.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Did you find it?
What is her name?
It's on his shirt.
Ruby. I have reminders everywhere.
Love it.
Ruby.
That's what I was saying. While he was saying that, I'm looking at his shirt and I'm going, there's no Z in there.
Yeah, so we did do the
You
Y
stuck
for
to it.
all the girls.
Yeah.
And then our boys, one of them has a Y, 2 don't, so they're outcast. But that becomes an issue when
It
you're
is.
having all these kids.
And we still don't know what we're going to call the new one who's
It with 2
due
T's.
in a month.
That's okay. You got time.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I think the 2 T's though, that's been a big thing. Similar to like the Y for you, like
Yeah.
we didn't really have
Just
that
became a
plan.
thing,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
It's, we kind of like the way that.
Oh, did you guys have anything like that with the name? You didn't get any. Yeah, Melissa.
You
named
think
all
I
of
had
them.
any input on what their
no
names
way,
were?
No, you had any input.
No, I mean, really, we were having twins. So we were 4, 3, and under. So we were 3, 3, 2, and a newborn. Twins were first, though, so Drew and Sarah. But so really, that one was just Sarah was something we really loved from the Bible, and we wanted her to be our daughter to be named that. Her middle name is also Melissa's, Elise, and so Drew was Andrew James Jr. Michael obviously was next, and that's both our dads are named Michael, and then my close friend who I've shared before that was killed in Iraq my rookie year right after I was drafted, Lee Deal, is why his name is Michael Lee. And so our other best friend when Lee was killed, Michael, joined the Navy SEALs and became a Navy SEAL because of that. And so I wanted him to be known as Michael Lee because it meant a lot to me. And then
Don't
Catherine.
forget Catherine.
These
yeah.
are
Don't forget KK, which we call KK, and if anybody's met Catherine, knows how bossy she is, who's had her own viral moment during the
Bossy.
Super Bowl.
She won't let me brush her hair either.
Now she's Catherine because she got tired of KK and doesn't like it. So
Okay.
You guys are way better at having meaningful reasons what you're naming your children. We have not done that.
Well,
at all.
again, it was all Melissa.
again, you're giving me a lot of credit. I don't have anything
Our
to do
first
with.
is Wyatt, and we were going to name the baby Wyatt if it was a boy. We're still trying to figure out the girl's name. And then I think Kylie saw Ashton Kutcher and Mia Kunis had a daughter they named Wyatt. And we're like, oh, I kind of like it for both. And I'm like, well, I've never heard Wyatt for a girl, but we can, if that's what you want to roll with, we can do that. Then we found out we're having a girl named Wyatt. That's the only reason we had. But now I tell people I like Wyatt's name because we call her Y, and it shortens to like a question. And I think like being inquisitive is like one of the most important things to be in life.
Okay.
And it's all just bullshit.
Yeah.
That's not why we named it
understand.
that at all. But
Yeah, you gotta come
I do
with an
like
angle.
that though. But
Take an angle
So
with
the
it.
nicknames are funny too, but my 13-year-old forever.
Yeah.
I've called Lucy. I've called her Booby or Boobs, and it's just not working out well now. When all her friends
that's really,
over,
it's
we
really
gotta stop
cute
that
when
one.
they're small.
It is, but when they're 13, I'm like, hey, boobs, boobs. It's not great.
That's not great.
No, it doesn't go great. So the celebrity one that we got turned off of for our 4th kid.
Yeah.
And I met my wife at Harvard. It's an Ivy League institution. We were going to name her.
What's it called?
Where'd you
It's
go to
called
school?
Harvard
Can you
University.
tell us again where
I
you
think
went?
I've heard of that.
Roman numerals. You guys have been to the Super Bowl. IV. So
Oh, thanks
4th
for
kid,
telling us.
We were gonna name her Ivy, and then Jay-Z and
Yeah.
was it Beyonce? Yeah, Blue Ivy, and we're like, we'll lean away from it.
Yeah.
But I think Maisie is my favorite name. Don't tell my kids,
Yeah.
but Maisie's a really, really cool name. I think we hit it on the head with that one.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's get back to like, all right, obviously the kids. I want to get to though, because you made the transition like us in the last year from you've played, all of a sudden you retire, you're about to be dad. And much like me, you know, you sit there and say, I know for me it was definitely this, hey, I'm not going to coach. I'm not going to do that because, you know, that's going to be too many hours.
Yeah.
And then you end up doing what
my
we're
God.
doing, and you realize, all right, I'm never home anyways.
Yes.
But so,
Seriously.
you know, my thing is when you made that decision, you know, obviously you're somebody I think that leans to you would love to coach, but
Yes.
you're obviously not. What really went into that? Like how you're going to stay involved in the game?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's only 2 really avenues to stay involved in football once you get done playing. It's either media or coaching. If you don't do either of those, you have to like completely, you know, get away from this thing you've put so much time and effort into fully understanding at a high level and that you love. So that's something that I'm still trying to navigate. I mean, the media is a lot of opportunities that are fun to be involved with and being able to communicate it and reach an audience and, you know, help people understand more about the game. Coaching, you get to still have that competitive fire.
Yep. Feel like you're part of the answer.
I miss quite a lot.
Yeah.
So I have to like try and devise other things that I'm probably way too competitive in that don't mean anything. That's how I kind of get that out.
What's the name of the beer thing?
Beer ball?
Beer ball.
Beer ball, yeah.
Have you heard of this?
I have not.
Okay. So beer ball,
Yeah.
set up much like beer pong-ish. You're at a table.
Yeah,
There's
similar. Partners, 2 people versus 2 people. But instead of cups like beer pong, you have the beer cans.
Okay.
Some people play with they're on like the corners. I think that's the traditional way to play.
Yeah.
I like stacking them together because it just makes the game go faster.
Okay.
But yeah, one team's throwing the ping pong ball. If you hit the can, your partner can start drinking until that team gets the ball and puts it back on the table. And it alternates until 2 people finish their beers first.
So I'm going to tell you, you've got a couple years left because once you hit 40, it gets really hard to play drinking games.
Yeah.
Have you noticed it yet? Or
I'm
no?
definitely I'm on the tail end of my beer ball dynasty days.
Yeah. I saw you and Bo Allen were crushing it though.
You're losing it.
I was going to try and set up like a folding table in the middle of Bourbon Street and just play beer ball all week.
Yeah.
And just like keep a tally because I'm very confident in my beer ball skills. Really? But apparently they're not letting that happen over on Bourbon Street.
I could see that. Yeah.
But I've always loved drinking games. I love hanging out with people. But I'm definitely on the tail end of my beer drinking prowess.
I'm curious about your brother because the last time I was at his house was 3 years ago.
Yeah, after the Thursday game,
After
right?
the Thursday night game.
Yeah.
You're going to ask about furniture, I think.
I'm going to ask a little bit about furniture and maybe just how much he's grown up in the last 3 years because
it's been staggering, honestly.
He
gonna say,
legitimately
I just wanna
had
know if he
a
has living room
basketball
furniture.
hoop in his living room.
Dude, Travis
pool
has
table.
been
And a
Give
pool
him
table.
credit.
I don't think he had any couches.
one of the
nothing.
things I love so much about Travis is that he never grew up. Like he was like Peter Pan, like the Lost
but
Boys.
is he growing up now? Then?
For sure. It's changing. And I think that sometimes, you get people in your life that maybe get that out of you, and that's a good thing.
That are worth changing for.
They incentivize you to get change.
There's no
That's
question.
right.
Okay, so
Trav,
he's growing up.
he is growing up. He's still, though, got that youthful enthusiasm. I think he'll kind of always have that. It's just part of his personality. And I think it's one of the reasons, like, every teammate has ever loved playing with him. Anybody that's ever met Trav, you can't help but just love the guy. And, he's a free spirit in the best possible way.
Yes, he is.
It's funny you bring up furniture. He bought, I don't know if I should share this. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, you
He
should.
had these couches, and they were like, it was like green velvet, like over the top couches.
I could see that with him.
And I go, and I'm like, dude, I'm not going to say the dollar amount, but I'm like, dude, what are these couches? He's like, oh, it's an Italian designer. They made them.
God.
Yeah, let's call him 100,000 a piece.
Yeah.
He said it's an investment. I'm like, Travis. It's art, Jason. I'm like, Travis,
Yeah, you
this
don't
thing
get
is
it.
not retaining
Yeah.
it. I came back maybe 6 months after that, and I come back, and one of the couches is like pushed up against the wall. I'm like, why'd you move the couch? And he goes and he pulls the couch back. He had just got a puppy. The puppy had chewed a hole in the back of it.
Investment gone. Investment's over. Investment's over.
The other thing he had when we were there, he had a mural of himself that somebody had given him, and he was like a little embarrassed about. But it was in his like closet. You turned the wrong way or something, and we were grabbing T-shirts, and I was like, "What is this?"
You and him actually would probably be very on point with like the eclectic kind of like out there artwork and whatnot.
Yes.
Like
There's some good Fitz magic artwork.
I've never been in your house, Fitz, but just based off of attire alone.
Let's say this though. Well, first of all, his attire is way more expensive than mine, but he also does not have 7 children. So
True.
you know that I don't have
that's-
any say in what the house looks like.
Yep.
So we just have shoes. Think about this.
Yeah.
When the kids come home from school, let's just say mom and dad have taken their shoes off. The kids take their shoes off.
Okay.
There's 18 shoes on the floor.
That's a lot of shoes.
It's a lot of
That's
shoes.
a lot of shoes.
In the summertime, when we go swimming, everybody changes and they've got a couple friends over and they swim and they bring their towels inside. There's 14 towels on the floor in the house, spread throughout the rooms. There's a T-shirt here, a swimsuit there. It's not good.
Yeah, that's a
it's
lot.
not
First
good.
time I realized how many kids he has, we were in Chicago for Thursday. When they came the first year with you, the family came. And I was like, hey, man, why don't you pop in this place? I heard it's really good for lunch. And he goes, I don't know if you know this. It's not really easy to pop in and say, we need a 10 top.
For 9, please.
We need a 10 top in 30 minutes. Like, we got 9 people. I'm like,
It's a tough
holy
one to
shit.
fit
It
in
really hit me. Like,
on the
damn,
spot.
you go to lunch, it's 9 people.
Dude, that's a lot. At what point? So we're getting ready to have 4.
Mm-hmm.
What number? You have 7. I'm sure you're happy with 7. But if somebody was going to say, how many should I have?
Yeah.
What is 7 the number? Or would you?
Here's
go
what I'll say. So I had 3 siblings. My wife had 3 siblings. So we were always 4 was going to be it. And then when we got to 4, it was like, what's one more? Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
And then it was, what's one more? Why not? So we got to 6, and at that point, it was decision time because
Yeah.
when you have 7 children, you don't fit in a minivan.
Right.
So-
oh my gosh. Yeah.
That was when we had to stop and think.
Yeah.
Are we really going to do this again?
Yeah.
And part of it is just, you've seen my chest hair. I mean, you've got
Yeah.
good. I mean,
You put
get
my
there-
chest hair to shame. Fitz.
Trav.
Trav is actually much hairier.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
let's
got,
not even get started
the
on
big
your neck
Yeti.
hair, though.
well, the neck hair is not
We
great
did shave
either.
his
now
neck
that I'm
hair.
a media guy,
Shaved
though,
it
I cut
on
my
set
neck hair.
when
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would just say we had to think about 6 to 7, and I'm irresistible. So I think 7 just that's what happened. But
Clearly, that's the
we
situation.
we had to buy a 12-passenger van.
12. Is this conversion van, Sprinter
It's a
van?
Nissan. So that's the other thing, and I know you know this because you're in the thick of it. Is
Yeah.
like, I didn't want to get a nice van because
Right.
I don't want smush goldfish
Yep.
and sticky gummy worms
Yeah.
and Chick-fil-A fries all over the van. So we
Yeah.
just got like a big 12-person people mover, like the Nissan van that all the
Nice.
plumbers drive around.
That's perfect. It's just a
And
work van.
all of the kids' friends call it the kidnapper van.
Yeah.
So like anytime we're driving up, they're like, "Here comes the kidnapper van."
Kylie's dad had Duder. It was like a conversion van, those old school ones. Where
Yeah.
It almost has like the shades on the. You remember the like?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Because there's the bed could fold down in the back. There was like a tiny TV.
Yes,
maybe.
yes.
Yeah, that's nice.
I went through a bad car phase there. I think on our 3rd, bought a. I was into nice cars, Fitz. I know this is going to shock you, but I bought a Bentley and
Bentley.
What?
Yes,
Nice cars.
And I can remember coming home with it. This is a true story. I literally just on the fly with my buddies at lunch. We were on a trip, boys trip.
What year in the league was this for you?
You know what years? Yeah, first couple of years. Yeah,
Okay.
but we had just had our 3rd, or were expecting our 3rd, and I came home and Melissa's like, "You bought a 2-door 4-seat sports car." And we have our 3rd kid coming. Our 3 kids are going to sit in the fucking car seats in the back of your Bentley. And I was like, you know what? Bad idea. So
are great
I
points.
lost a lot of money on that Bentley because I sold it,
It was an
right
investment.
after I bought it.
It was an
Yeah.
investment. Can I tell you, the first time I met Nick Mangold, so I get traded to the Jets.
Okay.
And I'm cruising around looking for a house because every time, you guys don't really know this life, and you especially don't know this life, but it's like
Okay.
every time I got traded or cut and signed somewhere, like the whole family moved, picked up
Right.
and moved every time. And so we're in New Jersey. I'm driving around, scouting out areas, and I pull up next to a white Bentley, and it's got a car seat in the back.
That's hilarious.
Top
That's
down,
Perfect.
and I'm
Mangold?
like, it was Mangold.
Mangold.
Long hair,
That's-
beard, with the,
the
car seat in
flow.
the back.
That
I'm like, what are you
surprises me
doing?
so much.
Well, you need
You
to
get
know.
to know?
You need to
Yeah.
get to know him a little. He's got a taste for the finer things in life.
Yeah.
We've been getting
like
to
to
know each
have a
other a
good
little bit
time.
over the past year.
Yeah.
He's, seems
Well,
like
and
just a gem.
Yeah, it matters what scene you're seeing him in as
Yeah.
well. Because, but yeah, he's definitely got a taste for the finer things. Yeah,
He put me
wonderful
on
guy.
to some great spots for meat pies over in London.
Oh, love a meat pie.
He introduced me to like the Saturday night, just a few glasses of wine.
Oh, wow.
Before a Sunday.
Are we talking
Before the
high end
game.
wine or what?
high
Yeah,
end?
it gotta be
wine.
high end, right?
Yeah, gotta be high end.
Soaking in the bathtub when they're basketball players.
You're not
that do
even
that?
looking at the name of the wine, just the dollar amount.
Yeah.
Go to
Yeah,
the end.
yeah. You
I think this one's
don't know
good.
what it says. You're just going pure price.
Yeah, great. He's a great dude, though.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've talked about Trav. We talked about your competitiveness. Speaking of competitiveness, I want to know this because I know
Sure.
Fitz and I have had these discussions. You retire, you go home. Obviously, you have all these kids. Kylie, obviously, we know is amazing. She's one of my favorite. Obviously, might be my favorite Kelce. I apologize.
She's
But
everybody's favorite Kelce at this point.
She definitely is. Definitely my
Wyatt.
kid's favorite Kelce. There's no question. I want to know at home in the house. You go home. You're at the house now. Now we're dad. We're retired. Do we get competitive? Is there something you do better than she does from like a parenting perspective? Something you do with the kids
no.
better? Is there anything? Do you
not a
have something?
chance.
Are you competitive with
the
something?
only thing I'm better at is when I think I mess with the kids more.
Okay.
Like I bully them.
Are you the good cop? Like you're
toughen them up, you're saying?
I call myself the ice cream guy.
I don't
I'm
even
only
think it's
here
like
for the
toughen
positive
them
things.
up. I think that Kylie is such a loving figure.
Yeah.
I think it's important for kids to not feel like they're that loved. They need to be kicked a little
I
bit.
get it. It's a
Don't
balance.
feel like you're loved.
It's
a
balance.
PSA.
I get it.
Don't let your kids feel like they're loved too
No,
much.
but that's your relationship too,
Yes.
because you're the ice cream guy.
I'm the ice cream guy.
And
Melissa
Melissa's the
tells
ass
them
kicker.
that the
Somebody's
tooth
gotta
fairy
be
died.
that. Yeah.
So
The tooth fairy died?
my daughter Catherine comes in the house a couple weeks ago. She's 10.
Yeah.
She's like, Mom, I got a tooth that's wiggling.
Yeah.
Melissa's busy cooking, like whatever, and she's just in one of those moods, like, I'm not in the mood today. And she's like, honey, the tooth fairy died in our house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, babe, what did you just say? And she's like, Mom, what? She's like, yeah, she's dead.
Yeah.
Like,
Because
okay.
of something.
No, she's just done dealing
just
with it.
dead. Oh,
Like,
yeah,
this is
she's
the
just,
fourth
I'm out.
kid. Like,
Yeah.
we're not doing tooth fairy anymore. Like, it's over. Like,
she
you're
died.
10. Just pull your damn tooth out and
she-
let's move on.
What did she die from?
I don't know if we've gotten there. I might need to
Poor
educate Catherine
was
to
just
ask better
crying.
questions.
She couldn't get any words out because she was so upset the tooth fairy died.
Yeah.
Fairy died.
She also told our 12-year-old Drew that he can't believe in Santa Claus anymore, and it broke his heart. So.
Yeah. Hopefully there's no kids watching this right now.
Please don't.
Well, I know my wife's not watching this. So
Dude, I've gone on record on this. I think it's important to lie to kids. I really do.
Yeah.
You need them to.
I'm a liar to the kids.
I grew up thinking my dad knew everything. And then you get to an age where you're like, oh, my dad was a moron.
Yes.
He was just filling me with, like, some of it very good, great dad, but some of it you realize later, you're like, okay, I don't know that he did have everything figured out like I thought he did. So I go out of my way to lie over frivolous things that there's no chance that it's true, to just see what I can get away with. Like, I'm trying to, like, even think, like,
well, but sometimes they're coming at you with questions, and you have
Yeah,
to
and
have
you
the
have to
answer to
lie.
everything, right?
Yeah.
So then you're,
yeah.
like, well, why does the moon look like that? Well, the rotational.
Well, you went to Harvard, so you actually know all this stuff.
Well, no, that's the other problem. Is when I got in NFL locker rooms, people assume I know everything.
Yeah.
So I've
Like the
always,
colonies.
I've always had that. Yeah, I've always had that power.
How did you handle flat earthers as a Ivy League grad?
How did I handle what?
Travis, I've talked. There's a shockingly large amount. It's kind of changed over the last 2 years because the trend is no longer that big. But there's a lot of players towards the end of my career that thought legitimately that the Earth is flat. A good amount.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to deal with, like, questions like that, and how would you answer them as an Ivy League grad?
Yeah. So that one I feel like is a pretty easy explanation. We could just draw it on the board or something. But the best question, and they actually put this on one of my trading
You're assuming
cards.
here a lot, by the way.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that.
Okay. Well, we could go far away in
understand,
Arizona. Arizona's pretty flat, so I could
A
prove it
harder
to you pretty
conversation in the
quickly.
locker room than maybe you portray it.
The birds being fake too. I don't know about that one, but
Okay, all right.
This when I was a rookie, and this is on the back of one of my trading cards. There was a huge debate, and I could always settle the debate because they didn't even know my name at that point. I was just a Harvard guy.
Okay.
And they said, "Dude, well, you went to Harvard. You know what would hurt more, getting hit by the trunk of an elephant or getting kicked by a donkey?" What do you
This
think?
is time out. I've never heard of this question.
Well,
What do
thank
you? I thought there's going to be like something that was like, well, no.
Yeah, I
But
didn't
this is
know
what I'm
what
saying.
we're going
They'll
with.
ask me anything, right? So
So I
I'm the
got to
foremost
decide
expert.
trunk or donkey kick.
Yeah. Ooh.
I guess I'll go trunk because of how big an elephant is. But
What would you say?
Hurt more?
Yeah.
I think that I'm going to go with the donkey kick.
I think
Because
so
I think
too,
you're going to have immediate pain.
But what
I think you're just going to get obliterated by
But
the trunk.
anytime what I would say, it was gospel, like it was the truth. And I'm
Oh,
like,
they would just say,
He went to Harvard. Like, that
like,
just means it's right.
I don't
'Cause
think
he
we
went to
learned
Harvard.
this there. Yeah. But I guess that's what, like, the power you have as a father and lying to your children
for
and
sure.
making things up. I guess in an NFL locker room, I kind of always had that power.
I just like to see what I can get away with.
Yeah.
And then I also feel like it's important for kids to question things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want
definitely.
them to, like, maybe not think that everybody's just telling them the truth all
I
the
feel
time.
like the
or-
issue with you,
but
though,
maybe
with the
that's
kids
wrong.
is going to be Uncle Trav.
Yep. Because he's going to tell them some things that you're going to be like, damn it, Travis.
Yeah,
don't
they're
tell
too
them
young
that.
to know
Yeah.
that. They don't need to know that.
That might be
Trav.
true. Trav, I don't know. He doesn't.
He's got to be a cool uncle.
He's the best uncle.
He's gonna be an
He's
awesome
like,
uncle.
Playing with the kids. every time they see him on TV or anything, they love Uncle Trav.
Yeah.
He's the best.
So quickly, I want to talk about the late night show because
let's do it.
Yep.
I know I've seen like the stuff where you said, you grew up watching Conan, super cool, and
It's the best.
I love Harvard guy. I love Conan.
Oh my God! How many times can we get this in the podcast?
Yeah. But I would say this. I'm curious to get just like now that we can look back at it, your thoughts on how it was. If you do it again, are you going to do it again? But I would just say, I thought it was super ambitious, super brave, because it's something like that is putting yourself out there.
For sure.
Big time.
I mean, comedy, A, is not easy, and B, you do a late night show and you're compared to Seth Meyers and Jimmy
Every other
Fallon
late night
and Jimmy
show.
Guys that have
Kimmel
been doing it.
But I thought it was really cool that you put yourself out there. How did you think it went? Was it rewarding for you, and will you do it again?
It's incredibly rewarding. I mean, anything you put a lot of time in to like originating and creating, I think it's amazingly rewarding when it comes full circle and it's actually being done. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into when we kind of had this idea, and we like talked to ESPN, NFL Films, and then you're building out, writers and directors and set design and like all these things that like, I don't know why I didn't think there was going to be a lot of time spent in that. And it's very meticulously thought out. And like, it was incredibly rewarding to create all of that from nothing and to do that with a bunch of people. And like you said, it was an ambitious show. Like it would have been much easier to just, do a straightforward sports talk show, have great panelists on. And we had some phenomenal guests. The comedy bits are something that I've always loved about late night shows and Conan and stuff. And we went for it, and we had an amazing team of writers. A lot of them worked on Conan, and it was fun to try it. I think it was fun seeing how much better I got as the weeks went. You know what I mean? There's like, it's kind of like tape. You're like
Reps.
watching yourself. It's like, man, why am I not looking at the camera when I'm doing this? Why am I pausing there? How can
I found this too, and I don't know if you have, but just even doing the TV stuff, as athletes, like we're used to being criticized and to people telling us what's wrong and coaching us, and but then getting into this world now, sometimes I feel like people are afraid to criticize and step on toes and
100%.
worried about your feelings, and but you almost want the
honesty.
You almost want the heat. You want
You crave the honesty.
Yep.
And it's hard to get it in this world, in the media landscape a little bit. Now you can get it, especially if you're not
like,
searching
wait,
there.
Gosh, I actually didn't want you to be that honest. It's just
For sure.
Keep your shirt on.
goes for both of us.
I know. I'm sorry. I don't know which one I was talking to there.
It's hard when you're in that environment.
You got to give the people what they want.
But that was one of the things I actually really liked about the Late Night Show.
Yeah.
One of our head writer, and John, he was like the coach. Like after the first show, it was a hard show, and doing it in the moment in the venue, it felt really good. Like the energy was there. I was like, man, we just had a fucking great show and everything. You watch it on tape, and you're like, man, I could have done all this other stuff really well. And he was just awesome to talk about, because he's been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
And he was just amazingly helpful to help me get better, and then also just like coach me through all of the process of like going. I'm not even improving, but like I don't know. I'm trying to think of like the right word. It's not improving.
But were you like for that? Were you like how much of that was off prompter? How much of that was you spitballing? Like, did you change as you were going from episode to episode? Like, did you get more comfortable?
For sure, we got more comfortable, and you figure out what you like more. And it's hard to go. I'm better at unscripted.
Yeah.
That's just because that's what I've done for
That's
the
who you
majority of
are.
my life.
That's who
Yeah,
you are Jason Kelce unscripted.
But I think the reality is doing that show and the timing and things that the way they need to happen, you have to script it. And I think that was a process for me to get better at, was going scripted.
Yeah.
But there were ways to script it that felt more
Still
natural.
in your voice.
And I think that was a process that we ironed out as the show went. I think that there were times where it's like, okay, we can be scripted here, but we can be a little bit more ad-libby here. But that was something for me that I just had to get reps at, and to figure out, okay, how can we go from the scripted stuff while also still being off the cuff and loose.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be off the cuff and loose unless you're comfortable and you don't feel like you're trying to be a robot a little
I think
bit.
that's the coolest part is like when you look at what you did with that this past year, you look at Tom Brady calling games. Like I think it's cool when you see the league's players who are really elite at playing the game.
Yeah.
And regardless, I think some people have a different viewpoint. It's like, hey, is he as good as like so-and-so or like do late night like Jimmy Fallon? Like, but what I think's neat is if you talk about paving the way for people, it's not always the first person we remember who did something. Sometimes a lot of the times it's about the fact that you're willing to go take that chance and you're willing to do that more people open their eyes that make these shows, that create these things, that give the opportunity for other people to have that chance. And there's inspiration in the greatest arguably football players ever played this game, and Tom Brady is willing to go get criticized and call games. I think that's fucking cool.
It is.
I recently sent him a message. We had a conversation about it. It was really neat to just tell him that. Like, dude, I think it's fucking cool that you're doing it. And then for you to go do this late night stuff and say, I'm going to put myself out there. I'm one of the best centers of all time. Who cares if you critique it or whatever? I'm trying to chase something. I have a passion to see what I can do. I think that's the fucking neatest part about it. But when you look back over the year, so obviously you and I were talking about this the other night, insanity. I mean, you did so many things, right? And you get that chance to think about it. What is one of those things that you look to this next year and say, there's either a new something I want to try, or there's something that I say, this is where I want to lean in?
I'm still figuring that out, to be honest with you. And I think, once this week's over, I almost think of it like I just finished a football season.
Yes,
right?
that's what it becomes.
Trust me. The season's over. I need to like decongest from everything to really focus on, okay, what do we really want to do? What's the appropriate amount of time commitment and work while still being there with the kids and having like all of these buckets that you value in your life met. And I think that's something that is an ongoing process right now we're figuring out. Yeah. So I think after this game, I'll probably take about a month to figure that out.
Yeah. What's the balance?
Yeah. I love when I first walked into Miami, and everybody's got a million sayings up there, and this was definitely a New England saying, but my son Tate, who at the time, let's say that he was 12 years old, said there's a sign that said you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And you're like, what does that mean, Dad?
Right.
And that's how we lived our lives in the NFL. You just put yourself in these uncomfortable situations, so it's cool.
I almost feel uncomfortable when I'm comfortable.
Ooh, see, I'm the same way.
Like if I am comfortable, I'm like, why am I why am I not having anxiety right now?
Yeah. Boxers or briefs?
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah, me too. And it just,
you don't feel comfortable like that, or you do?
Well, I don't know if I'm staying in pants, and that's why I'm uncomfortable doing that.
Dude, my dad.
Yeah, not good.
No.
Streaks.
It was the whitey tighties, and like my mom's
Captain
washing
Skids.
them, and I'm like, what are we doing here? Just throw them away.
Not good.
Why is this in the laundry hamper with other clothes?
Well, guys, this is the type of podcast you're going to get.
This is the stuff we want to talk about right here.
Right here.
Tidy whities with skid marks.
I got one more question, guys. One more question. There are, my count, 2 players in the NFL that we've all played with.
Yes.
And
all right, hold on.
I want you to think about it. Okay.
Deshaun Jackson.
Ding, ding, ding.
All right,
Rams, Bucks, Eagles.
Yes.
I had him for a hot 5 weeks or something.
Yeah, you did. Yep,
that was the one I was wondering. Because I know he played with the Rams.
Yeah, D-Jack. That was the one I thought maybe you guys would get because he's such a high-profile guy. Okay, who's the other one?
So the other one is more obscure.
I mean, you both
Popular
played
guy?
really close to him.
So it's a lineman.
Ooh, he's getting the clues.
And this one only was Cincinnati and Philly. That was the common thread.
Mm-hmm.
Saying Philly. Mm-hmm. Gosh, I don't know. It's got to be a tight end.
EM. No, he's a lineman. He's a guard. You played with him for like 3 years, I think.
He's a guard?
I hope you played with him. Maybe my research is wrong.
Oh, gosh.
No, I bet your research is right.
Evan.
Oh, my God,
Evan Mathis.
Evan
Shoot.
Mathis,
You played with
guys.
Evan Mathis?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
How did I forget that? That was,
Was that Cincy? Was he there?
Yes.
He was. That's right. At the very end of the year, he joined us at the very end of the season, and he was like 330 pounds. And the next offseason, he was 275 pounds and ripped his muscle. It was an interesting scenario.
Dude, thank you for taking the time for sitting down. I know you're a busy
appreciate
man,
it, brother.
but we both obviously really love you and love the friendship that we have. So
absolutely.
thanks.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate
Honored to be here.
Oh my gosh, what a dude. And the way he crushed those beignets too before we went in and got to sit down and talk. It just made me feel good. With all these linemen that are so health conscious now and eating salads, not steaks at the the O-line dinners. For a guy to walk in and just full fist 2 beignets, it just made me feel
it felt right
again.
It just felt like it was right. I loved him owning up too, and the parenting thing too. Remember we asked him, like, is there anything you do better than, no chance, like zero interest in trying to do anything better either, which smart man.
Well, then I can't wait. We should start something where we just try to guess this next name with the 2 T's,
Ooh,
they fell
that.
into the, they fell into the 2 T's.
Our own DraftKings, we'll set it up.
There are only so many names, right? There are only so many names that you can go with. But you can catch us back with a new episode of Fitz and Whit. That's Tuesday, February 25th. Whit, I guess we say goodbye. Like, what? I mean, where are you going to another foreign country? Where are you?
I'm going to be back home next week, baby. Listen,
are you really? You're going to be home?
I'll be in LA.
Do you homeschool your kids? Do they ever go to class? How does that?
My kids are. You know what? My Catherine did get in trouble last week. That her teacher said, "Catherine, you always miss the fun days. Like, why do you leave on the fun days? We were going to do Valentine's." And listen, I understand. We like to get a little jump on the vacation, right? If they're off on Friday, we're definitely checking them out at 9:30 on Thursday. I mean, why would you not? So we get a little jump. Little extra jump, Fitz. Okay. Right? Just like a left tackle on a 3rd down snap. I'm jumping the count just a little bit.
Yeah, it's the off season, but we're still here, baby. Until then, say goodbye, Whit.
Goodbye, Whit.
See what he did there? Oh,
yeah.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Appreciate it. We will see you next time. Bye.
Peace.